This story begins on January the 23rd, 2020 in Beijing. Shall we get up? China was the first country to have confined its population to fight the coronavirus. We're locked in our home, sort of paralyzed by the virus. The first thing we do each day is hurry to check the epidemic's latest toll.
See that? 44, nearly 44,000 cases confirmed.
I came to China as a journalist in 2007. I married Lulu, a Beijing girl, born and bred. We have one son, and the three of us live in an apartment building in the north of Beijing. I often travel across China for my work, but now you can't go anywhere.
Now there's only Tibet where things are still okay.
Around the towns, barriers have sprung up everywhere. Around the towns, around the provinces, around neighborhoods, and around each apartment block. Where I live, men in uniform are now checking anyone entering or leaving. And it's the same everywhere. It's the whole Communist Party security apparatus, neighborhood committees, who normally check the political or social behavior of the people, who've been converted into specialist virus police. With temperature checks, obligatory quarantine if you leave town, obligatory masks, the people of Beijing have gradually disappeared from view in their city, confined in their homes by the regime, but also confined through fear. I started filming this daily life that was transforming before our very eyes. From the confinement in January 2020 until the return to normal life in the month of May, here is our story. It's a Chinese story that turned the whole world upside down. There's one good piece of news. As we're living together 24 hours a day, family unity has never been so good. I've even been able to ask my son to give me a hand. Should we go and get some water?
Yeah.
The tap water is not drinkable, so we have to have these demijohns delivered almost every day. And as our district is closed to anyone from the outside, we have to go and get the water ourselves. My son is lucky. The barrier that now blocks off the entrance in our building is not very high. Since the start of the epidemic, Lulu and I have a new fashion accessory. Before we go out, we put on our masks. Mine is black, hers is white. It annoys Lulu because she can't put on lipstick anymore. But we don't really have any option. Since quarantine started, masks are strongly advised. In fact, it means we can't go anywhere without one, otherwise we'll be arrested. This is the last of our district's 4 entry points that's still open, at a checkpoint. And to get out, we've been given exit permits. They're checked every time we go through. If we get permission, we're allowed out. You would think it's 5 o'clock on a Sunday morning in Beijing. Not at all. In fact, it's the middle of a Friday afternoon, and we're going shopping. Usually, Beijing on a Friday is more like this. So even though it feels quite good not to be in a crowd anymore, it does feel a bit lonely. To make the stressful situation worse, our temperature is checked every 300 meters. I'm not sure that placing these devices on dozens of wrists is a good idea. It's the same in the shopping mall. No one. Here in normal times, we queue 30 minutes to get a coffee. But then everyone is tense. It's a good thing that some youngsters are still playing on the basketball court. It livens the place up. Come to think of it, I'm surprised they're still allowed to play without masks. There are still some alcohol-based hand sanitizers, but we don't know for how long. There's another inspection as we go into the supermarket. At least there are a few more people here. One of our only occupations since we've been in quarantine is cooking. It's almost comforting to see the shelves in the supermarket. Almost, because everyone in Beijing has seen the pictures on social media of the empty stalls in Wuhan. The situation in the epicenter of the epidemic, with those thousands of people infected, is on everyone's mind and is stoking the general feeling of fear. But the situation in Beijing is nothing like that in Wuhan. Officially, there are only about 100 confirmed cases to date, but nevertheless, the city is in lockdown. I decide to go to Tiananmen Square to see what it's like in the heart of the city. The pavements in the city centre are closed, so the only solution is to go round the square on a bike. To the north of Tiananmen is the Forbidden City. There are police everywhere to stop you getting in. The city has never been so forbidden. A few meters further on is Shongnanhai, the seat of government. Behind this door, the leaders of the regime are working, confined within by the fear of the virus. Impossible to stop anywhere near. At last, the final bend, the most impressive one. The largest square in the world, permeated with history, with Mao's mausoleum in the middle, completely deserted. Here's Tiananmen Square as you've never seen it before. In view of the way things are going outside my house and in the city centre, I was curious to see how it was in the more working-class areas of Beijing's suburbs. Are the quarantine measures the same? Out here, companies house their workers in little houses with just one room. A model of working-class society in which nobody would dare to go against the orders of the regime. Mr. Chen is a taxi driver and lives in this quarter. I booked him for the day to show me around here.
To be allowed in, we normally have to register you here. I just have to get out to explain to them, okay?
It's impossible to get into these districts without a pass. We're going to try and get in with the driver's pass.
This is my pass to get into my neighborhood.
We're not the only ones waiting. There's no preferential treatment here. Building committees and neighbourhood committees control quarantine. They deliver the passes to get home, they report people with fever, or who go without masks. The regime's whole security apparatus have turned into guards for sanitation control.
I've just come from Hebei province. I came back from my work, but my company has asked me to isolate myself for at least 7 days before I go back to work. 7 days, yes. Hello, do you have an authorization for this interview? If you don't, then you must stop filming. Stop the camera at once. Hello, may we come through?
You can't come in just like that. I don't even know who you are or what you want to do.
We just want to come in and see.
If you want to come in, you need to go to the other entrance. You're not allowed through here. The people in charge are all over there.
Okay.
Living in Beijing these days involves spending most of your time in useless chat at checkpoints where everything is geared to preventing you from getting in. Our driver is getting anxious. He's wondering if he'll be able to get back home.
We live in a little house just near here. We'll see if we can get in that way. That's the checkpoint.
Since the beginning of the crisis, the number of local committee agents has greatly increased. Volunteers, as they like to call themselves, have come to swell the ranks, all solidly behind the nation to fight the virus. In reality, with or without the armband, they're all paid by the City Hall to ensure that everyone obeys the rules. The checks are strict, and the hours of coming and going are extremely closely controlled. Strangely enough, here they're letting us through.
When the gates are closed, you can't get in for whatever reason. The other day I had to sleep outside in my car.
As everywhere else, the roads and alleyways are deserted. It's difficult to find anyone to talk to us. The only person we meet is this man, who's outside for the first time in 2 days.
I've got potatoes, noodles, garlic, tofu, vegetables. I've been shopping. We have to buy more than usual because there are 3 of us at home and I'm the only one who goes out. I get out every 2 or 3 days. Okay, thank you.
These workers' houses may well be tiny, but everyone stays inside without demur. Further north, we're stopped at another checkpoint, this time in the middle of the road. And the guards, with their shaven heads, are rather edgy.
Where are you going? We're just going down there to turn around. We have to take your temperature. You too, we have to take your temperature.
No need, I've just been checked.
Yes, we have to take our temperature. Okay, you can go and turn around.
There's a military base close by. It must be protected from the epidemic at all costs, as must be the leaders in the country's capital. When I get back home, there's something odd happening outside the building. This is the first time I've seen an ambulance in my residence where there are no confirmed cases. For our peace of mind, we're now able to check almost in real time if anyone is ill in the building. Several applications propose the geolocalization of those who are sick.
There, the blue spot, that's our place. And there around it, in yellow, those are residences where they have located sick people. That's to say, where there are people ill in their homes. The darker the colour, the more recent the illness.
Each little red dot represents a case of infection. And in Chinese society, where each person is under surveillance by the shopping they do, their movements or facial recognition, it's impossible to pass unnoticed.
So I click. The sick person who's been found, where's she been? A fruit shop, a little cafe. It's 2 or 3 kilometers away. That's a long way. I'm here, so we're not going to do 3 kilometers to buy an apple. No way. The way these new technologies have developed has made everyday life very practical. But even so, it's a bit frightening.
Most of the infected people listed here have been in Beijing's city centre. The avenue Wangfujing is empty. It's the Champs-Élysées of Beijing. Usually there are crowds window shopping outside the big department stores. Today, instead of showing advertisements, the screens are giving out warning messages about the virus. In the middle of the avenue, the market, where you could eat brochettes of larvae or scorpions, is closed off behind this barrier, where there's a message announcing that there's going to be a renovation. The days are long for the traders. Mrs. Zhang runs a cafe, the only one that's open around here. Today, I'll have been her only customer.
Before the epidemic, the shelves were full. There was a wide choice of food. The customers came to choose their dish. They went and waited, paid for it. Then they'd sit down here at one of these tables. It was full to bursting. And now we're empty, and there's nothing we can do except wait. The government has asked those who can go back to work. For example, people who can work from home. But that's not possible for us, running restaurants. It's far too soon.
Wow, yeah.
There's nothing I can do but bear the financial losses myself. A friend of mine advised me to negotiate with my landlord to try to lower the rent a bit. But I don't like to do that, because the landlord is hit by the epidemic too. His money doesn't fall from the sky either. How could I ask him to do such a thing?
The city is at a standstill, but at home people are finding that time is beginning to drag. It would be very nice to go out for a change one of these days. As no one from outside can come and visit us, and everything in the city is closed, we decide to go and see our neighbour, Gary. We don't really know each other, but we say hello when we meet in the car park.
Hey. Hello, sir. Hey, how are you doing? Hard time. Yeah, it's hard time. Have a seat.
He lives with his wife and cat. He usually sells second-hand cars, but now, like everyone else, he's been twiddling his thumbs for a month between four walls.
The gym's closed, restaurant's closed, the barbershop closed, so it's not convenient. So I try my best to do everything that's interesting in my home. I play the game, I do the workouts, that's it. It's really boring. It's really boring. I feel so bored.
Gary is allowed to go out, but he doesn't. He's too worried.
Every day I woke up, the first thing I do is to check the death toll. Yeah, every day, because it's so, I'm really concerned about this. Yeah.
Since the quarantine was declared, he hasn't missed one news bulletin on CCTV, the state channel.
In 2003, we had the SARS epidemic. I was in my third year at university. I think people were less frightened then than they are now. It's true. Now people are much more frightened of this epidemic than they were of SARS. People say that if the climate has changed, it's because of WeChat. They say that because of the social media, we communicate much more, and so we spread our fears. At the time of SARS, there was no social media. In 2003, the officials in Beijing made some very bad mistakes. They hid the truth, and that caused some serious problems. But I think they've done better this time, and they are managing the situation really quite well. But maybe at the beginning they still tried to hide some things. I don't know.
Whether it's transparent or not, the information Gary receives convinces him that it's better to stay at home. Every evening, the state TV channel broadcasts pictures of the state of the crisis. They show the insides of hospitals, sick people, but above all, the perfect coordination between the army and the doctors. They show pictures of the outside too, in the towns where the state apparatus is reacting fast and effectively. They're even swabbing down the streets, and the Prime Minister is setting an example. It's enough to give the impression that the situation is under control. With every passing day, Beijing is more and more deserted. These streets are usually awash with thousands of cars and people almost 24 hours a day. Today, nothing. It's deathly quiet. This banner announces that everyone is united and that thanks to this confidence and the government's scientific strategy, the epidemic will be beaten. That's the regime's obsession, that the fear of the virus might provoke social unrest, criticism of the leaders. The party seems to be more afraid of the virus of freedom than of the virus of pneumonia. So the censors have cracked down hard on those who try to give out information on social media. One of them is the blogger Fang Bing. The police have come to his home to arrest him.
Who is it? The police. The police?
Yes, the police. Open up.
Why are there so many of you? Stop taking photos. Why are you here?
We're here for you.
Where are you going to take me? What do you want with me?
Come on, open up now.
Where are you going to take me? Tell me that first.
The police end up breaking in. Fang hasn't been seen since. Since the beginning of the crisis, the blogger has filmed all he's seen in Wuhan and posted it on social media. He's been in hospitals, shown piled-up bodies, sick people dying, and a medical team out of its depth. None of this is filtered. And his posts are followed by hundreds of millions of Chinese. He openly condemns the inefficacy of the government.
They will be punished, you can be sure of that. They'll have to pay for the consequences of their acts. All anti-communist forces must come together. And even if they arrest me, I'm not afraid.
This is an insufferable affront to the Chinese regime. Before Beijing could react, videos like this were mushrooming on social media. Shen Chui also has a large following because he too haunts the hospitals of Wuhan. He films the sick who are waiting but receiving no treatment, the distress of patients who are not taken care of after days of fever.
Hello, everyone. This is Chen Shui-Che here. It is now the 30th of January at 11 o'clock in the morning.
This is the last video he posted before he disappeared into enforced quarantine.
I'm frightened. I have the virus in front of me and state security behind. But I'll hold my head up high. For as long as I'm in this town, I'll carry on with my reports. I'll tell you only what I see and what I hear. Fuck off! You think I'm afraid to die? You think I'm afraid of you, communist regime?
Over the last few days, I've seen messages on WeChat and Douban, the Chinese versions of Facebook and Twitter, that come from a couple of bloggers in Beijing who are also brave enough to confront official reality. They've agreed to meet me with an interpreter in their small flat in the center of the city.
We haven't been out for several days, so we drink lots of tea just for something to do.
Since the beginning of the crisis, the people have become organized and taken on the role of journalists to try to spread as much information as possible about the situation, alongside the official media. An apparent freedom which in China always has its limitations. This couple of bloggers has tried, with the means at their disposal, to diffuse a sense of revolt following the death of Dr. Li. This doctor from Wuhan was the first to spread the news of this epidemic to the public at large. After he was arrested by the police, he died in Wuhan infected by the virus, thus becoming a symbol of the absurdity of this system, which silences all those who might destabilize the regime.
After Dr. Li's death, people were sad and angry. I had the idea that we could all pay homage by putting a drawing of his face as a profile photo on WeChat and Douban, or by publishing messages such as "expressing an opinion is not a crime" or "bon voyage to paradise." Rather like a web demonstration, I started the movement on these social media, and within 30 minutes, millions of internauts changed their profile photos and shared my posts. The internet police were notified and they gave me a warning. All the content that you have posted will be expunged because it is likely to foment unrest. If you refuse to cooperate, your account will be removed permanently.
In China, these social media are used for everything. Payments, messaging, using public transport. Denial of access means exclusion from society.
To start with, Taixin and Sanyan were active in covering what was happening. Then state television sent 300 reporters to Wuhan with one aim in mind: to guide public opinion and stop others from doing their work. Unfortunately, the regime exercises much stronger control these days.
So quarantine is now global, physical and newsworthy. As well as being confined to their homes, Chinese citizens are limited in access to information, except for what the regime chooses to give them. Even these two bloggers don't have much room for maneuver now.
You see, it's impossible to get around the internet blackout. Our applications don't work anymore.
All their information tools which enable them to bypass censorship and go onto forbidden sites like Twitter have also been blocked for them. Two weeks of quarantine already. The gates of the residence, as well as being closed, are now covered in wire netting, barricaded by green metal barriers 2 meters high. You couldn't get through anyway before, but now at least it's made clear. This is now our little daily game, a constant stream of delivery people who come and pass us our food over the grill. And as for the jerry cans of drinking water, it's getting more and more like hard work. With every day that passes, we feel slightly more trapped. Lulu decides she's going to call her cousin on the phone to see how her daughter is. For several weeks now, the little girl of 7 has been confined to the family home.
Just hang on, I'll go and get her. She's getting changed.
The school is closed, of course, so lessons take place via the screen.
What are you doing at school? Tell your auntie. I sit down at the table and I switch on the telly. I learn my lessons from the telly. And then when it's finished, the teacher gives us homework. Do you communicate via Skype as we're doing now? No, before we did it like that, the teacher could see us, but now we do everything through the telly. And the teacher can't see us anymore.
Lulu's cousin sends us some photos of her daughter's daily routine. Tong Tong is an only child, and her daily confinement is organised minute by minute. Wake up at 8 a.m, breakfast, then it's virtual school all morning. And just like when she goes to school, the school day starts with a period of gym. And in the afternoon, it's time for sports activities. Tong Tong has a passion for dancing.
Don't force your movements. Look, do it like I'm showing you. These days, because she can't go out, her dance teacher has done her an online thing. Live, in fact. It's not recorded, it's live. And the children learn that way. What's your teacher wearing on her head? A bandana. She looks like an actress from the Beijing opera.
At home, we can't bear to be indoors anymore, so we try to venture outside. 2 days ago, the filtering system changed. Now everyone has to go through this big military tent. Things are getting organised. The colour of our passes has been changed to reflect the sickness of people in the surrounding zone. At the moment, they're pistachio green, but we don't know what that means. We are surreptitiously filming with the phone because cameras are no longer welcome in the controlled zones. Outside, it's even worse than before. It's more deserted than ever. The only living souls we meet are either wearing a red armband or they check our temperature. It's so empty. The basketball players didn't last long. The court is now out of bounds till further notice. On the way home, there's the compulsory visit to the tent. This life out of time lasted more than 2.5 months, and then a clearing appeared. On the 8th of April, official television announced the end of confinement in Wuhan and the first lifting of restrictions in Beijing. We intended to make the most of things. So we're going to reserve tickets to go to the park, aren't we?
Well, yeah, but in fact it's an idea of the Beijing town halls on WeChat. I type...
So are we going out or not?
We're going to the one in the centre of town, not far from the Forbidden City. It's the nicest.
So tomorrow we're going to go out for the first time in 2.5 months, leaving our home. It's a real family outing.
I've chosen tomorrow, the 29th of March.
But from now on, freedom is controlled, restricted.
There I'm paying.
Even to go to a park.
Right, that's good. I have the confirmation that I'll show at the entrance. It's like a ticket, and that way I can get in without queuing up. Because tomorrow there might be a lot of people. They won't let everyone in at once. You'll have to queue up. This way we won't have to queue. We've reserved a day in advance.
Obviously, not everyone has understood this new internet reservation system. What's this?
Oh, we have to queue.
We have to queue up? It'll take ages.
Well, there are a lot of people, aren't there?
This is a mess.
Hold on. Keep some distance.
The park has been closed since January. Hundreds of Beijing residents want to enjoy the good weather.
There are a lot of people, aren't there?
The park is more than 1,000 years old. It's one of the country's biggest. It's just north of the Forbidden City and north of Shanghai, the headquarters of the Chinese Communist Party. All over the park there are agents, guards with little signs asking and reminding us to wear a mask even when we're outside. We can't even hear the birds singing anymore. They're blocked out by voices on loudspeakers, constantly telling people to move on and leave room for others, so that everyone can enjoy the park. Of course we want to obey the rules, but it's been so long since Lulu, my son and me have seen any greenery. For 2.5 months we've been living locked in our apartment, with the occasional outing to shop for food. So today we're in the park and we don't really want to leave.
People really need to do something to get out, so everyone comes to the park. Many young people. Usually this is a place for people with children or older people. Today most of the visitors are young people.
For Beijing's young people, getting back to normal life is mostly getting back to the national sport, shopping. They head off to Sanlitun, one of the main shopping centres in Beijing. It's a mixture of trendy cafes and luxury boutiques. This is incredible, the traffic jam. This must be the first traffic jam in Beijing in 2 months. It's not moving at all. People are getting out of their cars. There's even a huge badminton game going on the sidewalk. Wearing masks, of course. So, here's a forgotten picture of Beijing. People going out. Bicycles, traffic jams, shopping. Here we go. Everyone has to do it. Temperatures taken. Hey, here there are airlocks set up to go through. Yeah, that's the way. That's good. So a new inspection there. That's good. Now we're in a safe zone. Officially, there hasn't been a single case of the coronavirus in Beijing in nearly 3 weeks. Everyone wants to enjoy this rather different springtime. On my way home, I noticed Gary, who's exercising in the garden of our residence.
So you shake my hands?
So do we shake hands?
Okay.
So you exercise here every day?
Yes. I do the exercise because...
Yes, I do, because my gym is closed.
I go to the park.
I go to the park and exercise to keep fit.
workouts.
Good health is the most important thing.
You know, to keep healthy is most important things.
Gary is in car import-export. A few weeks ago, he wondered if the Chinese government was up to it. But everything has changed.
It's kind of
ironic. At the beginning of the epidemic in China,
the breakout in China.
the other countries, they laughed at us. They condemned China.
Laughing at China.
But now, it's their turn.
Their turns.
Our residence is still like a small fortress. A checkpoint controls the comings and goings of residents, and we have to wear a pass that the guards have given us. We've never really understood how it works, but anyway, nobody from the outside can come in, not even for deliveries. There, we've passed the gate now, so we're outside the residence, and this is where they set up shelves for deliveries. Delivery services were already a big thing in China before. With the epidemic, they became enormously important. There are 3 million people in China making deliveries by tricycle and on mopeds. In the next street down, some sidewalks are packed with delivery people sorting packages. Demand has exploded since the beginning of the year, and in Beijing alone, thousands of jobs have been created.
I have colleagues who used to work in the restaurant business, but because of the epidemic, restaurants are closed. Well, they weren't being paid, so they quit, and now they're delivering.
For those who kept their jobs, offices are open again. But you can't get in like you used to. Miss Lee, who helps me translate my reports, brings me into the production company where she's employed. There's a new procedure to get into her office.
I'll scan my code and it'll register the information.
This sign at the entrance is in fact a computer code, a graphic QR code that shows, thanks to the geolocation of my phone, if I've been out of Beijing in the last 14 days. It's the new Open Sesame to access most public places here. I have to register to get into the office too. So I just scan the QR code that shows my phone number and where I've been. So the apartment, that's good. That means I haven't been out of Beijing for 2 weeks. And on top of that, a copy is kept of my scan, which is the proof that I'm all right. They have a record. Here, as in most Beijing offices, barely half of the employees are at work. The other half has stayed at home, so that security distances in the office can be respected. So the authorities have taken over cell phones as an instrument to control every citizen. It's like an electronic bracelet. Only the Chinese don't have the choice if they want to move around freely. And everywhere it's the same procedure. For example, in shopping centres. Right, I'm just going to scan my QR code.
If you've only been in Beijing, Yanzhou, and Lanfeng, then you're okay.
It's become a new habit performed dozens of times a day. Lulu wasn't able to go to the hairdressers for almost 3 months. It's become urgent. And so here too, there's a temperature check and a QR code scan.
Take your telephone and scan it.
Oh yeah, I have to scan it.
Scan it on the middle one.
With WeChat? This is to see if I've travelled, is that it?
Officially, this new system is only for health reasons.
How long do you want it?
It's a way of tracking those who are sick and of warning people who might have been in contact with them without realising it.
How long do you want it?
Not too short. You decide, you know best.
But this new weapon is infinitely powerful. The Beijing regime, which had long wanted to introduce a social credit system for each citizen, has been able to use the epidemic to numerically track the Chinese population of 1.4 billion.
I feel beautiful.
Along with the new QR code system, the authorities can also make use of the most advanced video surveillance system in the world, using facial recognition, which is admittedly a little more difficult to implement when everyone's wearing a mask. And to complete the arsenal, there are new cameras, thermic cameras. They're simple and they're everywhere. In the underground, in shops, in administrative buildings. In this Beijing social security center, this one can scan 300 people a minute.
You have to scan the QR code on your cell phone. Put your number in first. If you see that the QR code is green, you can go in this way.
The neighborhood committees are still on guard. The regime has taken advantage of the virus to get an even closer look at its citizens. There's one committee member for every 140 Beijing residents. Well, we might as well admit it, they know everyone. So we can't catch them at fault. Oh, there are so many of them. The committees are tough. They can deny you access to your own apartment if you've traveled outside authorized areas. That's what's just happened to Miss Zhao, the blogger I met at the beginning of lockdown. She was shocked to learn she'd been kicked out of her home after a trip outside the Beijing area.
So it's complicated.
Is it complicated to get out?
Yeah, it's so complicated. We will go to a park. It's in the spring and it's really nice.
Okay.
Okay. At least they let you out.
They let you go out, but
you can't get into your apartment.
Not yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
According to Ms. Zhao, the epidemic has been beneficial to the party. The regime's communication agencies have turned public opinion in their favor.
At the beginning of the epidemic, people were very angry. There was a lot of criticism on social media. At one point, the government lost control and let a lot of criticism through.
But after that, everything was controlled. Nobody questioned the numbers given for the epidemic. Criticism focused more on foreign countries.
Some people are worried about the new means of control. But now many people are comparing different political systems, seeing for themselves what's more effective. A more democratic or a more authoritarian system. They think control will become stricter and stricter because of the epidemic. But some say that an authoritarian country is more effective.
Miss Zhao doesn't know where she's going to sleep tonight. She'll probably have to self-isolate in a hotel room until her GR code allows her to go home. As for me, my numeric identity still allows me to get around.
No problem. Okay.
After one final control, I'm allowed into the street where there are a lot of restaurants. I meet up with Tian again. He'd gone into the restaurant business just a few months before the epidemic. His 2 restaurants were closed for 2 months. They're opening up today and he's smiling again, even though the disinfection rules are particularly strict.
For people who eat in restaurants, the rules are to leave at least a meter's distance between each other and to have no more than 3 people per table. I think that the stricter the measures, the quicker the epidemic will be over. Even if things are a lot better now, it could still come back.
So he's taken a lot of precautions, but his restaurant is still open. And there are customers.
It's different, I'd say. I think it's for the better. The atmosphere is better. After a hard day at work, it's nice to be able to eat outside and relax. That's why I like eating outside.
So for those who are still afraid of being enclosed inside a restaurant, lots of establishments are now serving outside right on the sidewalk. That eliminates the problem of disinfecting. You can even have your hair done in the street, which is in fact a return to an old Pekingese tradition. Inside or out, everyone now wears masks. At the beginning of the epidemic, it was sometimes difficult to buy them, but now they're everywhere.
There are stocks of masks here. There are different styles, did you see? There have been for a long time.
In chemists, of course.
It's €5 for a pack of 10. These are surgical masks.
But also in small grocery shops on street corners.
Have you got masks, please?
This one?
Yeah, this is N95.
These are FFP2s, aren't they?
And how much is it?
How much is that one?
20.
20?
It's €2.60.
There was even somebody who bought 50 masks. He wanted to send them abroad. I told him that wouldn't be too easy because the customs would probably forbid it. I told him he couldn't do it.
You also find anti-COVID-19 glasses everywhere. In a few months, they'll be an indispensable fashion accessory, that's for sure.
With this model, you can keep your own glasses on inside. These protective glasses stop the virus, which is in the spittle balls. How much does it cost? €5.
Controls, masks, schools still closed, the impossibility of leaving Beijing. All these restraints mean that our social life is mostly limited to our families. For the first time in 3 months, Lulu and I decided to go out to a restaurant. Sweetheart, do you know where I'm going later? I'm going to see a lawyer who specializes in divorces. Oh, but don't worry, not for us. Lulu knows I'm just
Are
joking.
you out of your mind? Have you nothing better to do?
For a lot of couples, this period has been a disaster, and divorces are on the rise. So we won't get divorced. I don't want to.
Well, I'd love to.
Lulu and I have come out of the lockdown period rather well. We've both become quite enthusiastic about cooking. So today, we didn't want to miss the reopening of one of the best markets in Beijing. All the colors, the smells, real life again. Lulu's almost bulimic.
I haven't been here for such a long time. This is the first time since the epidemic. So all the produce is just the same like before. There's everything you need. Prices haven't changed. It's real life again. I'm so happy. The only difference is you still have to wear a mask. I hope we soon won't have to.
For us, it was here, in this market, that we realized that the worst was behind us. But the country needed a stronger symbol, a last act to the coronavirus tragedy. It's been a long struggle getting through it all.
I don't see it. I don't see his name here.
Well, it wasn't such a good start because I wasn't on the list. I'd received the confirmation, but I wasn't on the list of the lucky few. I don't know what's going on, so I called someone in the ministry to try to get in. I'd been selected with 20 or so foreign journalists to attend the next session of the National Assembly. There aren't many foreign journalists. But to get into the heart of Chinese power, there's compulsory testing for coronavirus. So, these are envelopes for the analysis, in fact. Right, here's my envelope for the exam, what I'll give in. And here, yes, it's a bit scary. I'll try to be brave because they say it's sort of painful, or at least unpleasant. Is it my turn? Is it all right if I film this?
No? Okay, no.
No? Okay.
Okay.
I almost threw up, but it was okay. The regime isolates us in a hotel for one night while waiting for the results. Right, I've been given the card for my hotel room. It's 23:20. I'll be here until tomorrow morning. So we have to stay locked in here for 12 hours. It's not the worst place in the world to be quarantined. I have a really lovely room in this official government-run hotel where important guests of the state are usually put up. Early in the morning, after a hearty breakfast, I get my results. They're negative. I'm off to the People's Palace on Tiananmen Square. I'd left Tiananmen Square when the epidemic started in February, totally deserted. I come back to it in the month of May, still deserted. But this time it's for a different reason. It's not because of the epidemic this time, it's because they're holding the National Assembly. It's an important moment in Chinese political life. It marks the return to a type of normality. The Assembly should have taken place in March. It had to be postponed, for the first time in the history of popular China. But everything has returned to normal. The guards have resumed their normal behavior with the journalists. Within, the party delegates from every province in the country take souvenir photos. Like me, every one of the 3,000 participants has had to take the test. Then, just in time, everything falls into place. You can hear the bell that's announcing the beginning of the debates. On the agenda, it's obviously the world after COVID-19. The Central Committee, without masks, declare a strategic victory over the virus.
Under the firm leadership of the party, the Central Committee has rallied round Comrade Xi Jinping. Thanks to the assiduous efforts and the sacrifices of the whole country and all of the Chinese people, the control and management of COVID-19 has achieved major strategic results.
Everything looks normal. The party reflects the same image, patiently forged year after year. And yet the borders are still closed. Millions of Chinese people are unemployed. And there are still barricades blocking access to my residence. The epidemic has almost disappeared, but it has taken part of our lives with it.